My proposed idea for a documentary is going to be on the topic of consumerism as well as advertising, and I want to look at how this affects everyday people as well as their views on advertising itself. In my film, I'll give a brief introduction as to what advertising is, as well as a small amount of history in order to show how advertising has reached the state that we currently understand it in our contemporary society. I want to explore the relationship that Western society has with consumerism and advertising, and see how in many of our dreams and our desires can be shown as realities in adverts, but whether these adverts provide attainable goals. I also want to explore the views of advertising that are held by everyday people, just like you and me, whether advertising is noticed, the sort of attitudes that are held towards advertising, and to see what people understand it to be. A theme that I want to explore is whether or not consumerism is a system that can be broken by Western society in favour of a different economic system, or whether our consumption has become too ingrained for us to leave behind. The filming aspect of the documentary will attempt to try and show the wide variation as well as saturation of advertising in contemporary society, and how it may seem to many of us that advertising is inescapable. I also want to show the diversity of consumers and how even those who may disregard adverts as well as the capitalist system itself can still be consumers themselves and be influenced by the advertising that they dislike. As has been said in this film, the focus will be on the consumer, so I want to explore the wide-ranging attitudes of various different individuals. I hope to speak to people who are extremely anti-advertising in corporate, who may or may not be actively fighting the system, but as well as those who may not be so aware, or could also be considered as ignorant towards the power that these sort of brands and companies hold over them. This is to essentially discover as to whether the vast majority of consumers, even though they are obviously wide-ranging, hold a consensus on whether or not the phenomena of advertising should or could be fought. During my documentary, I want to use a mixed media sort of platform, so I want part of my film to be filmed, moving images essentially, as well as still photography in order to show the emotional range of the sort of topic. By conducting interviews with the consumers themselves, I should be able to discover both their attitudes and their general views on advertising, and this will predominantly take place in Cabot Circus as a sort of mecca to consumption. I also want to gain an understanding for those who may hold interests in these industries that utilise advertising to such extremes, but may not necessarily have the power to change, essentially low-level workers who are the everyday interactions. I want to use up-close snapshots of the moment that an individual makes a purchase, and this is to see the sort of emotional range that could be portrayed at that moment of consumption. Does the individual look happy? Are they regretful? Or are they indifferent to the entire ordeal? And I hope to be able to see an emotional connection between that particular person and the product that they've just purchased due to the influence of advertising. As the ideological opposite of consumerism, Marxist critiques will be useful in order to understand where advertising may have gone wrong, or even where advertising may potentially cause harm to wider society as well as individuals. Though functionalist viewpoints are often referred to being as rose-tinted due to their positive spin on events, I feel like they would be good and useful to highlight the potential benefits of advertising and the wider consumerist nature of our society. Exploring interactionist theories around the self and how advertising can create a sense of identity for many individuals through the showcasing of products that may better their lives would be useful in order to understand consumerism as a whole. I also want to explore the hidden or subliminal messages that are or could be present in advertising, and whether or not these can hold dark undertones that may have the potential to harm individuals as well as wider society. I want to see whether or not advertising could in itself be seen as a process of socialization, in the sense as to whether or not adverts are able to be used to attach meanings to products that are then transferred to the individual's world perspective. Thank you for taking the time to watch my presentation.